Hello students, I extend my good morning wishes to all of you. Yes, how are you all? Students, in science, impossible only means that we haven't found the solution yet. Yes, with this positive note, let us start a new lesson, that is lesson number 9, disaster management. Yes, we have completed with lesson number 8. Okay, now from now onwards, we will start lesson number 9, disaster management. Okay, let's get started. We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay, students, can you recall, okay, what do you mean by disaster? What are the different types of disaster? Yes, we have already learned in earlier classes, if you can remember. Yes, what is disaster? Students, disaster is any sudden event, or okay, or an accident, sudden event or an accident which is considered as a naturally occurring catastrophe, okay, which causes loss of life or great damage, right? Now, what are the different types of disaster that we have learned? Okay, if we categorize disaster, okay, it can be categorized into two types: natural reasons, okay, natural disaster, and man-made disasters. Now, which are the examples in natural disasters? Let us see that. Okay, we have earthquakes, cyclones, tsunami, volcanic eruptions, landslides, heavy rain. These all come under natural disaster. Okay, now let us see examples of man-made disaster. In man-made disaster includes terrorist attack, yes, nuclear plant accidents which occurs, okay, war, chemical test. These all are examples of man-made disasters. So in this chapter, students, we are going to learn what is an earthquake, what are the effects of earthquake, okay, in detail. So let us start with earthquake. This is the first natural disaster that we are going to learn. Here I am going to define earthquake, and then we are going to see an instrument which is known as seismometer. Okay, I repeat, seismometer. Okay, let's get started. Okay, students, what is the definition of earthquake? Sudden vibrations on the earth and shaking of the earth surface or ground is called an earthquake. What is an earthquake? Sudden vibrations on the earth surface, okay, which causes tremors, which causes shaky movements, okay, on the ground is called as earthquake. Now these earthquake, it causes seismic waves, okay, they lead to seismic waves, okay, which further leads to movements of the earth surface. Because of seismic waves, we have these movements on the earth surface, like tremors, shaking, or it goes up and down. This kind of effects we see on the earth surface. The shocks and waves formed in the interior of the earth spread on the surface in all the directions. Okay, these seismic waves or shocks which are formed in the interior of the earth, they will spread where? They will spread on the surface and in all directions. Okay, slowly and gradually it will spread in all directions. Students, this point is very important, that what is epicenter? Okay, what is epicenter? The central point of earthquake. The central point of earthquake is the point above the epicenter on the earth's surface. Okay, the central point will be above the epicenter. So let's see the figure. In next slides I will show you. Before that, let us understand that this seismic waves or convulse, they will first reach the epicenter. Okay, therefore major loss occurs near to that area. Okay, so whichever area is close to the epicenter, the areas which are close to epicenter, that gets affected more or major loss is seen there. Shocks occur due to an earthquake can be mild, okay, which are very mild, and some are intensified, which are very acute, okay, which are more disastrous and dangerous, and great loss of life and damage is seen. On the earth, mild earthquakes occur in a large number than the intensified or runners. Okay, every day earthquakes are noticed at some of the other places, students, on the earth. If you have seen in news channels, okay, we have earthquake effects in Dahanu, Palghar, in Delhi. Okay, this kind of news always flashes in the news channel. Okay, regularly we can see. According to the observation of National Earthquakes Information Center, every year nearly 12,400 to 14,000 earthquakes occur on the earth. So this is observed. Okay, now let us understand the picture, okay, which is the focal point. Okay, this is the central point and epicenter of the earth's surface. Seismic waves. Can you see circular yellow colored structure? These are nothing but seismic waves. Plate movement. Okay, this kind of pictures, this kind of namings are given in the pictures. Please observe closely. From this, what we understand, students, that earth is continuously vibrating. Okay, after seeing all the different instances, what do we understand, or what do we notice? That earth is continuously vibrating. Correct? Next, let us understand what is a seismometer. Students, the machine or the instrument which records the earthquakes is called a seismograph or seismometer. Okay, it is a machine, it is an instrument. And the accentuation that is the intensity, is measured in Richter scale. Richter scale word always appears on news channel. 1.4 Richter scale, 2.5 Richter scale. So this is the unit, this is the mathematical measuring unit. Okay, for what? For earthquakes, for recording the earthquakes. Okay, machine is seismograph or seismometer, and unit is Richter scale. I hope this is clear. Okay, so let us see the pictures, okay, of the instrument seismometer, which is given in the textbook. We have two types: vertical seismometer and horizontal seismometer. Yes, vertically, can you see how it is arranged? Vertically, straight, upright, down, upside down. And then we have horizontal. Yes, how it is arranged horizontally. So this, in this way, we have two types of seismometers. Okay, so I hope you have understood the definition of earthquake and the instrument seismometer, what it is all about. Next concepts we will see in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, now let us understand what are the causes and effects of earthquake. Okay, in the previous video, we have defined earthquake, what is an earthquake, and we have seen what is seismometer, okay, which is a instrument which measures earthquake, right? The effects or intensity of earthquake, correct? So let us understand what are the causes of earthquake and what are the effects of earthquake in this video. So let's begin. We're learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay, students, in this video we are going to understand causes and effects of earthquake. So are you all ready? Okay, here we are. Causes of an earthquake. The very first cause of earthquake is volcanic eruption, which is a natural disaster, right? Second, we have stress of big dams on the earth. Lot of big dams are constructed all over, right? So stress of these big dams also can result in earthquake. Then we have mining process. Now what is mining? Mining is a process, students, where we are extracting minerals from the earth, usually from an ore body, right, for our human use. Fourth, we have underground atomic test. Okay, different kinds of atomic tests are carried out underground. So that is also one of the reason for earthquake. Coming to point number 5. Okay, now water percolates. It seeps through the cracks of the earth. Yes, it percolates through the cracks of the earth. Enters through the cracks of the earth. Okay, that is the meaning of that. Due to tremendous heat. Now once water has entered, what happens due to tremendous heat, okay, inside, okay, the water converts into steam. These water which has percolated inside through the cracks, it gets converted into steam, water vapor, okay, hot water vapors. The steam formed tries to come out from the loosened earth surface, causing earthworm. Now what this steam which has been formed due to water percolation, okay, here what will happen, it will try to come out where from this loosened earth surface, and that will result in earthquake. Okay, that is the meaning of it. Let us understand what are the effects of earthquake. The very important effect is, students, we all know that loss of human beings, wild animals and pets. Okay, this is the very first effect of earthquake. Second is economic loss at large. Yes, economic loss, like we have destruction of electric poles, pipelines, houses, buildings, roads, railway tracks, everything gets destroyed, disturbed. Okay, next let us see effect, that is third, ecosystem destruction due to loss of biodiversity. We have different kinds of ecosystem on earth, land ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, everything gets disturbed, and there is loss also, okay, due to loss of biodiversity. Direction of flow of rivers, streams changes. Yes, direction of flows, okay, of flow of rivers, streams also changes. Why? Due to earthquake. Okay, that's very obvious. Possibility of fire in cities increases. Yes, there is a big chance that there can be possibility of fire also in the cities. Coming to the next point, students, if there is earthquake at the bottom of ocean. Okay, now let us imagine a situation where earthquake is at the bottom of the ocean. It may create tsunami waves, and thereby what happens, large scale destruction of coastal region is observed. Okay, why? Because at the bottom of the ocean, once earthquake is okay observed, it creates tsunami waves, and therefore what will happen, there is large destruction of coastal region. Level of water table changes. Okay, the level of water table changes. Students, what is water table? Let us understand that water table is an underground boundary. What it is? It is an underground boundary between the soil surface and the area where the groundwater saturates spaces between sediments and cracks in rock. Okay, now we have to remember one thing, that water pressure and the atmospheric pressure are equal at this boundary. These underground boundary, the level of these underground boundary changes. Understood what is water table? Okay, so these are listed effects of earthquake given in the textbook. Okay, students, please observe the pictures that I have collected. After effects of earthquake, can you see big cracks on the road, destruction of houses and buildings? This is a small picture of the mall where all the products, can you see, grocery products are destroyed. Okay, I hope you have understood the causes and effects of earthquake. Okay, prevention of earthquake. Okay, preventive measures we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, good morning to one and all. Students, life is a rope that swings us through hope. Always believe that today is better than yesterday and tomorrow will be much better than today. Okay, so with this positive note, let us start our video number 1. We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay. In disaster management, the first disaster, that is earthquake. Okay, we have learned what is the definition of an earthquake, what is a seismometer or a seismograph, okay, the instrument that I have discussed. We have also learned different causes and effects of earthquake, correct? So in this video, let us start with precautions to be taken at the time of earthquake. Preventive measures, okay, need to be taken at the time of earthquake. That preventive measures or precautions we are going to see one by one. So already, Okay, the very first point. Students, if you are at home, then do not get scared. Instead of running here and there, stand still at one place. Okay, do not get scared, students. Okay, either sit on the floor. What you have to do then? Either you sit on the floor or below the bed or any other furniture and try to cover yourself until the movement of the earth stops. Okay, do not get scared. Instead, you go below the bed or furniture and cover yourself. Okay, this is the first point. If you are at home, then what you have to do? Second point says if you are in the vehicle, okay, if you are traveling, you are in the vehicle or you are outside the house, then what you will do? If you are in the vehicle, then park your vehicle at a safe place and sit inside it. At a safe place, okay, you have to park not under the tree or electric pole or near the tall building. Okay, at a safe place and sit inside it. Do not wait near or below tall building. This can be very much hazardous and dangerous to you if you're under a tall building because it can collapse due to shaky movements of the earth. Trees or electric pole. Okay, these things also you have to avoid. You have to avoid trees, you have to avoid electric poles. You don't have to stand under this tall building, trees or electric pole at all. It can be fatal to you, for all of us. So in the vehicle, park your vehicle at one place, at a safe place, and then if you're outside the house, you don't have to wait below the tall building, trees or electric poles. So this is the point. Okay, avoid doing following things during earthquake. So there are certain things that you will not do at all. First of all, avoid using lift in the multi-storied building. Instead, use staircase. If you have lift facility, yes, in your building, you have to use staircase instead of using the lift. Okay, students, don't sit in discomfort position for a long time. Do some physical movements. Okay, you have to be comfortable. Okay, don't sit in a position which is discomfortable or uncomfortable for you. Next comes after the earthquake. After the earthquake, students, there is a possibility of catching fire. So hence what I have to do, we have to avoid it carefully. So switch off the main electric supply. Okay, if you're not aware about the main electric supply at your house, please locate it. Okay, you have to switch off it. Okay, we have to switch off the main electric supply after the earthquake because there's a possibility of catching fire. And please don't use candles, lantern or matchbox. Don't use candles, lantern or matchbox because this will increase the possibility of catching fire. So now what I should do? Okay, I have to use torch or battery. Okay, I have to use torch or battery instead of using candles, lantern or matchbox. Okay, I hope you have understood the preventive measures or precautions that we have to take. Okay, when there is an earthquake, which is a natural disaster, we don't know when it is going to come, but we should know these steps, what we have to do. Don't panic. Okay, sit under the furniture. Okay, till the shaky movement stops. Always cover yourself. So these are the things we have to remember. Next concepts we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, welcome to the science class. Students, last video we have seen precautions that need to be taken while there is an earthquake. In this video, let us understand resistant proof buildings. Yes, earthquake resistant proof buildings. This concept we are going to study in this video. Okay, so let's get started. We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay, in disaster management, students, we are learning the very first natural disaster, that is earthquake. Okay, so far we have been learning different concepts of earthquake, definition, seismometer, causes and effects of earthquake. We have seen preventive measures that needs to be taken during earthquake. Okay, in this video, let us understand earthquake resistant or proof building. Earthquake resistant or earthquake proof buildings. Okay, what is this concept all about? Let us understand this. Okay, students, The very first point. The constructions which do not get damaged due to earth movements up to a certain limit are called as earthquake resistant buildings. Okay, so the name itself is very easy to understand, earthquake resistant buildings. So what is that all about? Constructions are made, okay, buildings are constructed, and they are constructed in such a way that they do not get damaged if there is any earth movements or shaky movements up to a certain limit. Okay, it will prevent any damage from earthquake. Now how this is carried out? See, to construct tall buildings, Indian Standard Institute has made some code of conduct. Indian Standard Institute, ISI, they has made some code of conduct. Students, let us understand what is code of conduct first, so that you will understand the next slides. Code of conduct is nothing but set of rules. Okay, they are set of rules outlining the norms, rules and responsibilities or proper practices, okay, of an organization or an individual party. They have to follow the set of rules or norms. Okay, so that is code of conduct. Let us understand further concepts. Okay, buildings are constructed as per IS, that is Indian Standard 456, and earthquake resistant constructions are performed as per IS, that is Indian Standard, yes, 1893, 1893. Okay, now what does it say? This particular norm, what does it say? That this is a criteria for earthquake resistant design of structure. So there is a criteria for this. This is 1893 is the criteria for earthquake resistant design of structure. Then we have one more, that is IS 13920. Now what does it specify? It specifies ductile detailing of reinforced concrete structures subjected to seismic forces. You don't have to go into detail, okay, what it is and how it is, what is all about the designs and structures. You don't have in the portion. You just have to remember the names. IS 1893 and IS 13920. These two names. Okay. And who has constructed this? This is given out. Okay, this is laid by IS 456. Okay, this is the thing that we have to remember. Okay, advanced technology is used for earthquake resistant construction. Okay, as year passes, new technologies, yes, are invented, are discovered, and this advanced technology is used for earthquake resistant construction. Students, if you have observed now, there are a lot of tall buildings, okay, coming up in our areas, in our vicinity. So they have to follow all this code of conduct, okay, which is given by ISI. To get prior intimation about earthquake, modern equipments like laser ranging, very long baseline, Geiger counter, creep meter, strain meter, tide gauge, tilt meter, volumetric strain gauge, etc. are used. So you must be wondering that in advance, if we get the prior intimation that there will be an earthquake, so which instruments can be used? Student, these are the modern equipments which are used to get the prior intimation or information about earthquake. Okay, in detail you don't have to study, you just have to remember the names, okay, which instruments are there. Okay, give two examples of modern equipments, okay, which gives prior intimation of earthquake. You can give any two, creep meter, strain meter, any two out of this. But definitely I'm going to show you the pictures. Okay, even if we are not going to study in detail, I'm going to show you some pictures. This is the Geiger counter, this is the strain meter, student. Okay, see now, Geiger counter basically is an instrument which will detect the radiations which are coming out from the earth, okay, beta particles and gamma rays. Somehow it is going to help you, okay, if there is an earthquake. Yes, prior intimation. Strain meter, what is strain meter, students? It is used to measure the deformation of the earth. Okay, deformation, changes in the earth's surface can be measured. Next we have a tide gauge. Students, what is a tide gauge? Basically, if you see this device, it is used for measuring the change in the sea level. Okay, the change in sea level can be very much understood with the help of tide gauge. Tilt meters are these different instrument. Tilt meters are continuously used to measure the tilt. Okay, what is the tilt of the ground surface? Volumetric strain, again it is going to change. It is going to observe the change in the volume. Okay, so small movements of the walls and everything can be detected with the help of volume strain meters. So this is small information that I have tried to explain you, but these are instruments which are used to detect, okay, or get the information about the earthquake. These modern equipments are used. I hope this is clear to you all. Yes, earthquake resistant proof buildings. Next concepts we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, good morning to one and all. Students, science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. Yes, so with saying this, let us start our video number 1. We have already completed in this chapter the natural disaster earthquake. Okay, everything we have covered regarding earthquake. From this video, let us understand the concept of fire. Okay, very, very interesting students. Are you all ready? We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay, students, so here we are going to study fire, and under fire we are going to study two things. Okay, types of fire would be the first thing to be covered in video number 1, and video number 2 will be methods of fire extinction. Okay, so let us see that. Before moving to types of fire, okay, first let us understand the definition for fire. What is fire? What is fire? Okay, the scientific definition goes as fire is a state, process or instance of combustion in which fuel or other material is ignited and combined with oxygen, giving off light, heat and flame. We all know that. Okay, when fuel or materials catches fire, okay, and they combine with oxygen, giving off what? Light, heat and flame. So this is the proper definition of what is fire. Let us see the types of fire. Okay, students, total we have 5 types of fire: class A fire, class B fire, class C fire, class D fire and class E fire. Okay, if you observe the types, okay, clearly we will understand type A considers all solid substances, class B or type B considers liquid substances, class C or type C is gaseous substances, class D is chemical substances and class E is electrical. So let us understand one by one in detail about all the classes. Okay, class number 1, that is class A fire. It includes all solid substances. For example, wood, clothes, coals, papers, etc. So these are flammable materials. So they come under class A fire, that is solid substances. Students, this fire can be easily put out with water. Okay, very easy to understand. Coming to class B fire, liquid substances. Now, which are the examples of liquid substances which are flammable? Yes, let us recollect. We can have petrol, oil, varnish, solvents, cooking oil, paints, etc. These are all examples. They are lighter than water, students, and therefore we can extinguish, okay, them with the help of fire extinguishers. Okay, now here the question arises, what is varnish? Varnish is nothing but a thin transparent protective covering. Okay, usually on wood this process is carried out on wood. Okay, so that is varnish. Class B fire is over. Now let us see class C fire, that is gaseous substances. So first we had solid substances, second liquid substances, third we have gaseous substances. Now fires which are caused due to acetylene. Now what is acetylene? It is a colorless gas, students, which is used as a fuel. Okay, remember this. So acetylene, it is a hydrocarbon. Okay. And second example we have household gas. Okay, household gas we all know. Okay, we are very much familiar. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Okay, the full form of LPG is liquefied petroleum gas. So this comes under class C, that is third type. Coming to fourth, class D fire. Okay, now here chemical substances are included. Now students, when we learn about chemical substances, the description goes as it is considered into two groups. Now let us understand first group. Fires caused due to combustible metals like potassium, sodium and calcium. They react with water at normal room temperature, so they come under first group. Second group is magnesium, aluminium and zinc. They also react with water but at higher temperature, not at room temperature but at higher temperature. So when both these groups, okay, when both these groups combine with water, students, it leads to explosion. So they come under chemical substances examples, class D fire. And last we have class E fire, that is electrical. So class E, that is electrical, okay. A fire caused due to electrical components is class E fire. So here electrical components are the example. To extinguish such fire, power is cut off and non-conductive fire extinguishers like carbon dioxide are used. Non-conductive means they do not conduct heat, electricity or sound. So that, that type of fire extinguishers can be used here. I hope you are clear with all the five types of fires. Yes, class A, class B, class D, class C, D, E. Yes, all five types of fire are clear to you all. Okay, the next concept, that is methods of fire extinction, we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, we are back. Welcome to the science class. Students, in the previous video, we have seen how many types of fire? Five different types of fire, right? In this video, let us understand methods of fire extinction, which is very, very important for all of us to know. Yes, if there is any fire outage, okay, we should know all these methods of fire extinction for us, right? So, are you all ready to understand that? We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Students, we have already completed types of fire. Now let us concentrate and focus on methods of fire extinction. Okay. Broadly, there are three main methods to stop the spreads of fire or to control the fire. How many methods, students? Three methods, three main methods. Okay, they are used to control the fire. First method is cool out. Okay, into bracket goes the explanation as use of water, means the cooling process is carried out with the help of water. So cool out. Second, suppress the fire. What is the meaning of suppress? Okay, forcibly to put an end. Okay, so here we are going to put an end to fire. So we are going to suppress the fire forcibly. And third is keep away flammable substances. Those substances which catches fire very easily, these substances should be kept away, okay, from the reach of fire. So these are the three things or the three main methods, okay, to stop the spread of fire. Let us see one by one in detail. First is cool out, that is use of water. Students, let us understand that to extinguish fire, water is most common and effective solution which is easily available everywhere. You must have seen in the news channels when there is fire outage, yes, fire extinguisher people, yes, rescue team, they come and then what they do, they actually spread water, right, onto the sites where there is fire outage. So if you spray water, what happens? Students, we have to understand this. If you spray water on the fire or around the fire, okay, it creates a cooling effect and that will help to control the fire. So this is the basic science or reason behind using water on fire. So cool out, use of water, readily, easily available everywhere. Water is readily available everywhere, right? So this is the first method. Second, we have suppress the fire. Okay, to control the fire which is caused due to electricity or oil. Okay, please understand this point is very, very important. To control the fire which is caused due to electricity or oil, sand or soil can be used. For this, which two materials can be used or substances? Sand or soil can be used. Okay, there is one more way, students. Let us understand that. Now, if we spread a froth-like substance, I'm not saying froth, a froth like substance. So what is froth? Let us understand. Froth is nothing but small mass of white bubbles which usually appears on the liquid. In Hindi we called it as jhag. Yes. So froth like substance, okay, that can be spread on the fire. And what it does, students, it will cut off the contact between the air and fire. The contact between air and fire is cut off, okay, with the use of this froth like substance. This method is more useful to extinguish the fire spread due to oil. So fire spread due to oil, at that time we can use froth like substance on the fire. Okay, so I hope you have understood the second point clearly. Suppress the fire. So we are adding some substances, some materials to separate the fire, to forcibly put an end to fire. Okay, so this is the second step. Third, we have keep away flammable substances. Very easy to understand. What we have to do, we have to keep all the flammable substances away from the fire. Okay, any wooden article or flammable substances must be kept away so that no source is left for the fires to spread. So no source is left only, for fire to spread. Stir up pump. Okay, stir up pump is the best device to put all small fires. Okay, so how it works, let us see. It sprays water in all directions around the fire. So this is stir up pump, best way for small fires, okay, not for big fire outages. Okay, so I hope all the three simple methods of fire extinction is clear to you all. Okay, further concepts of this chapter we will cover in the next upcoming videos. Till then, thank you. Hello students, good morning everyone and welcome to the science class. Students, a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. However big a task is, it starts with a small step. Okay, with saying this, let us start our video number 1. We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. In disaster management, students, we have already covered the first natural disaster, earthquake. We have seen causes, effects and preventive measures, yes, for earthquake. In this video, let us understand landslides, rift, collapse. Okay, the second type of natural disaster, landslides, rift, collapse. Please observe the picture. This is something that we are going to learn. Okay. Landslides, rift, collapse. Okay, first we will understand causes of landslide and then we will see effects of landslide. So let's begin. Before starting with causes and effects, students, what is landslide? What is known as collapse of rift? These answers we have to find out. Okay, so let's start. Natural cracks and fissures present in hard rocks cause their breaking. Okay, the cracks and fissures which are present in hard rocks, they ultimately cause it to break. Okay, especially at the time of heavy rains, water entering these cracks causes weathering of these rocks. Now what is weathering? See, weathering is nothing but it is the breaking down or dissolving of rocks and minerals which are present on the earth's surface. Breaking down. So weathering means breaking down of these rocks. Okay, remember this. And there are many factors, okay, which are responsible for weathering process. So heavy rains is one of them. Clear? I will try to show you a picture. Okay, this is the picture showing cracks and fissures in big hard rock. Okay, you must have seen anytime if you have went to trekking, yes, on a mountainous region. Okay, students, what happens next? See, due to weathering of rocks or due to entry of water into these rocks, what happens? Weight increases and these rocks slide on the slopy region and settle at the lower slide. They will slide on the slopy region and what will happen? It will settle at the lower side and this is called collapse of rift. Okay, collapse of rift. This is the perfect picture to make you understand. Yes, can you see small to larger rocks? Yes, it is all over on the road now. Okay, it can lead to traffic jam because it's a road. Yes, on the road it has collapsed. Let us understand causes of landslide one by one. After effects of natural disasters like earthquakes, tsunami, heavy rains, storms, floods cause landslide. So these are some natural disaster which can lead to landslide gradually. Unlimited cutting of trees causes soil erosion. We all know what is soil erosion. Soil erosion is nothing but soil degradation. Yes, and it is duly caused or mainly caused due to cutting down of trees. So that is also one of the reason. Students, let us understand the third reason. While building roads in mountains, okay, there is lot of digging process, construction process that makes the mountain weak. Okay, so this is also one of the cause. Okay, now next, let us understand effects of landslide. Very easy to understand. Let us see one by one. Point number one says, rivers get flooded and change their paths. Yes, rivers, they change their paths. Okay, this is effect of landslide. Displacement of waterfalls, formation of artificial water reservoirs. Okay, these things happen, yes, after the landslide. Okay, third most important thing, students, there is financial loss and life, okay, loss of life on a large scale. As what happens, trees, buildings, rocks on slopey area, they collapse on low-lying area, land. See, you must have seen on the mountainous lower lying areas, lot of houses are built. Okay, just imagine if there is a collapse of rift, this everything, the trees, the buildings, okay, that will all collapse on the low lying, okay, low lying land. And what will happen, there is life, okay, loss of life and financial loss. So very, very important. Next points we have, landslide affects the traffic. Okay, obviously traffic jam because everything comes on the road. Landslide destroys plant life on it. Students, whichever smaller and bigger plants are present on that particular slopey area, okay, where the collapse of rift has occurred, eventually it will get destroyed, it will be uprooted. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is landslide all about, causes and effects. Okay, next, that is the last section of the chapter. This is disaster relief planning. We will see in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the last video we have seen what is landslide, collapse of a rift. In this video I want to talk about, okay, an event, an accident, okay, Merlin mishap in Pune district. Okay, this I am going to talk about. Okay, this particular mishap, this particular accident, I am going to talk about the complete story or what were the facts about it, that I am going to discuss in this video. Okay, so let's start. We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Students, we have already seen what does landslides, rift, collapse. We have already understood what it is. So let us now understand one event, okay, which happened in Pune district. That is Merlin mishap in Pune district. That I am going to talk about. Okay, students, please pay attention here. On July 31st, 2014, a major landslide occurred in Malin village located in Pune district of Maharashtra. What was the date? 31st July 2014. Okay. A major landslide had occurred. Now, what was the reason of the landslide? Yes, we have to see this. The landslide happened due to the heavy rainfall and recorded a casualty of 151 people. 151 people, okay, had died because of this landslide. Casualties means death rate. Heavy rain continued for days, which made the rescue operations difficult. Okay, the NDRF team, the rescue team, which had went there for the rescue of people, rescuing people, even they had faced lot of difficulty. Why? Because continuous heavy rains. Okay, because of continuous heavy rains for days, Even that particular operation, that particular rescue task was very much difficult for them. It was like a challenge. Due to this disaster, several peoples shifted their residence from the Malin village. Okay, many people have shifted their location. Okay, the road was blocked and the transport was restored after a few days. The road was completely blocked. Financial loss, including loss of houses, crops, etc., were reported. As I said, we have seen the effects of landslide, loss of life, financial loss, okay, due to heavy rains, due to landslide. Okay, I hope you have understood this particular Malin mishap in Pune district, which occurred in the year 2014. I will show you some pictures of it. Okay, this are the few pictures that I have tried to extract and I'm trying to show you. Okay, this is the NDRF team, okay, rescue team, which were actually working day and night to rescue the people, to save the people. Okay, can you see how muddy it is? Okay, muddy area. Okay, one more picture. Even the trees gets translocated, uprooted. Okay, these were the pictures of Malin mishap in Pune district. Okay, I hope you have understood. Okay, I hope you have understood the story behind Malin mishap in Pune district. Okay, which is very much asked in the textbook. So I have tried to discuss about that particular event, which is a mishap, which is an accident, in this video. Okay, next video we will see disaster management, disaster planning. Thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, we have reached to the last section of this chapter, disaster management, that is disaster relief planning. Okay, so let us understand that in detail. So are you all ready? We are learning chapter number 9, disaster management. Okay, disaster relief planning. Okay, before starting with disaster relief planning, okay, there is a proper chart which is given in the textbook. We have to read the chart, and this is a small activity that we have to do a survey. Okay, regarding that I will discuss in the next slides, but before that let us understand what is the meaning of disaster relief. Okay, students, disaster relief, or it is known as an emergency management also sometimes, it refers to the process of responding to a catastrophic situation, providing what? Providing humanitarian aid to persons and communities who have suffered from some form of disaster. It can be any disaster, natural disaster or man-made disaster. Okay, it involves dealing with and avoiding risk and preparing, supporting and rebuilding society where natural or human-made disasters occur. So pre-preparation I'm talking about, preparedness I'm talking about. Okay, before there is any disaster. So everything comes under disaster relief planning. So let us see what is there in your textbook for you all. Students, we have to understand that if the plan is prepared, okay, if we have a well written formatted plan, it will help any disaster relief. Okay, wherever, if it is in the school, it can provide us help in the school also. For that we have to prepare a chart which is given below. So it's considering it as a very important thing. Yes, we have to prepare a chart. So this is a small survey. Okay, and what we have to prepare, we have to prepare a chart based on certain points which are given in the textbook. So that will be like a disaster plan or disaster relief planning. So let us see that one by one. What are the main points that we have to consider? Let us see that. Main points is primary information of the school. Now, what comes under primary information of the school? That is also written in the next column. What things we have to note down? We have to know the name and address of the school. We have to know the name and residential address of the headmaster with contact number, names and contact numbers of school management members, and how many total number of staff is present. So these things we have to note down if we have to prepare a disaster relief plan for the school. So we have to find out this information. Second main point will be school disaster management committee. There should be a proper committee which is known as school disaster management committee. Okay, so they are going to see the things like fire extinguisher, awareness, instructions, traffic management, safety, communication community. So these are the things that they have to consider. Detailed information about school building. We should know our school building very well, like what are the total number of rooms, number of classrooms, classes, what is the type of roof, whether it is wooden, cement or sheets, what is the age of the building or building year, everything we have to note down while planning disaster relief. Okay, then we have detailed information about school building, that is done. Okay, information about school ground, type of the playground, prayers, space, kho, kabaddi and other grounds, etc. Distance of the ground from the main road. Okay, this information about school ground also we should know. Then we have daily routine of the school. Okay, time to start school, breaks, to leave school. Basically, what I'm trying to explain you is we have to be aware, or we have to know or learn about all the things of the school, right? For a proper disaster relief planning. Possible hazards in the school we have to note down. Disaster management map of the school. So this, we don't have in detail about this, but we just have to know what all things are considered. Then there is always a mock drill in the school. Okay, you must be aware of it. Every month a mock drill must be conducted in the school, and it should include possible hazards and measures taken against them. The date, time, number of students, shortfalls must be noted down. Okay, so these are the pre-preparedness steps actually for disaster relief planning before there is any disaster, okay, emergency or any catastrophic situation. Okay, we just have to understand this. Okay, we don't have to by heart this or something. This is just for your information. We should know this. Okay, so I hope you have understood the charts which are given in the textbook. So with this, students, we have ending the chapter number 9, disaster management. I'm going to explain the PDF in the next video, and afterwards PDF will be uploaded on the group so that you will be more confident to write the PDF of question answers in the Science A4 size long book. Okay, so all the best and thank you. Hello students, please pay attention here. Students, this is the PDF of question answers, okay, of lesson number 9, disaster management. Okay, so we will go through the list of questions, okay, which are given in the exercise. This section is points to remember. Okay, there are total 3 points, okay, is written. Then we have section of question answers. In this, let us see one by one all the questions and let us understand it in brief. Question number 1, answer the following in your own words. Okay. A, explain the relation between continuous rains and landslide. Give reasons. So you have to explain and have to give reason also with one example. Very first point is when it rains incessantly, that is continuously, it can cause flooding even on day soil. Landslides refer to several forms of mass wasting. What is mass wasting? Slope movement. Okay, sand, rock, soil, everything comes, okay, in a on the slope as a slope movement, okay, comes down on the low lying land. So that is mass wasting. And example given here is Malin village, as we have discussed about that particular accident which happened in Pune district due to heavy rainfalls. So that is given as example. So that is question number A. Question number B. Prepare a chart showing do's and don'ts at the time of earthquake. Okay, a proper chart, that is 2 columns I have written do's and don'ts, and there are things or there are points that we have to remember and write. There are total 5 points here. What are the specifications of an earthquake proof building? Okay, so this is the answer which is there in the textbook itself. Okay, different methods, advanced technology are used. Then we have ICR. Remember that we have covered in videos and I have already explained. Coming to D, explain the effects of landslide. This is again you have a proper answer in the textbook, that only I have listed down here. Okay, there are total 5 points. Then we have E. Is there any relation between dam and earthquake? Okay, and we have to explain. We all know that the most widely accepted explanation is what dams do cause earthquakes. It is related to the pressure created in the micro cracks and fissures in the ground. Yes, construction of dam itself is a very complex process, right? When the pressure of water in the rocks increases, it acts to lubricate the faults which are already under tectonic strain. Okay, so this is related to construction. Okay, pressure due to construction, okay, on the surface, earth surface, lands, rocks. So that strain or pressure it is talking about, but are prevented from slipping by the friction of the rock surfaces. So this is the point we have to remember, a new point for you. Tectonic strain, okay, related to the construction or building of dams. Coming to question number two, fill in the question number two, sorry, give scientific reasons. It is safer to find shelter under things like a bed table at the time of earthquake. So if one is at home, what we have to do, that we just listed down. If there is a table, then you have to take the shelter under it. In monsoon, don't take shelter in the hillside. Yes, landslide chances are there, so don't take shelter under the, okay, under the hillside or near the hillside. Don't use, okay, yes, don't use lifts at the time of earthquake. This is one of the question. After the earthquake, there is a possibility of catching fire. So students, we do not, you have to use lift in the multi-storied building. The foundation of earthquake proof building is separated from other land. Okay, again, this is the same answer actually about the ISI and IS standards for building constructions. Question number 3, if a crowd gathers at the place of earthquake, what would be the difficulties in relief work? Very important points are given, very easy to understand. You can read one by one, easy to understand. Then there are, we have to make a list of institutes. So I have given total 4 institutes. You can write more than that. If you can want, you can search. Many institutes and organizations are working for disaster management. You can list them and you can explain it. Okay. Then question number 5, are there any possible places of landslide in your area? So this answer I have tried to frame for you, but students, you can write your own answer, whichever location you are living in, okay, whether it is a mountainous region or flat surface, you have to write it down. This answer you can write in your own words. Which answer? Question number 5, which I have listed. With the help of following picture, explain your role in disaster management. So there is a picture in the textbook. The picture I have not mentioned here, but the answer definitely I have provided. Okay, what will be your role? Yes, I am at risk. This is what it is written. So you have to use certain things. Yes, you have to be prepared, or you should be alert about certain things. One question I have omitted from this chapter, that is about the survey of disaster relief planning. Okay, because that is an activity which we have to do practically at school. So that answer, like, you have to make a plan and everything, that will be like an activity for you. So that question we have not included here. So now we have total question 7. Okay, total 7 questions we have as question answers to be written in your long book. Okay, I hope you have understood this. And now let's get started. After this, let's get started with writing science experiment book. With this, I complete the explanation of the PDF. Thank you.